And then there's the creation and play. This is the one where you start off bare bones, and then throughout your choices, throughout the first couple of game sessions, you actually finish making your character.
Right.
Okay.
And I've skipped that for right now.
Yeah, I would skip that too. That's fine.
You get to character advancement.
Actually, we don't need to go through character advancement. That's fine.
You got it. No problem. Okay, so let's get to the rules then. Okay, so it being a 2d20, you do, of course, you do get dice. Okay, and then you also, just like any other 2d20, you also can do re-rolls. Sometimes you have to keep the new result of the roll, or let's say, for example, you get you have to roll three. Choose to roll 3 dice, but you have a talent that allows you to re-roll the lowest dice.
Oh, hang on. Mark Hockman saw something earlier that said dual fealty. Was that a talent, or was that, what was that? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was a talent.
It was a talent. Okay, that means are you bound to 2 houses or 2 different masters, or what?
So dual fealty is you choose 2 factions to be loyal to. Okay. So this would normally be your house and another group, such as the Bene Gesserit.
Oh, okay. So you could be a spy or a double agent or whatever.
Right.
Okay, got it. Like you are of House Atreides, but you are a spy for the Bene Gesserit. That would be an example of dual fealty.
Correct. Right. Okay. Or you could even go house. You could have House Atreides, and then you're also a spy for Harkonnen.
Yeah, which actually is a thing. All right, that's awful. All right.
Okay. So, scenes and traits. Okay.
What page?
We're 144, the next one over. So, because what this is talking about is this first page is basically just the overview of skill test. Yeah. It'll actually get a little better. So scenes and traits. This is where things get a little confusing for me. Okay. So
let's look at traits first, because it's the first thing coming up.
So the effects of traits is on 144. So in practice, traits have a simple impact on your character's action. If a trait is relevant to an action being attempted, it makes the action possible or impossible, or makes the action easier or harder. So multiple traits can be applied to a situation at once, whether canceling one or another out. Okay, so in practice, it is easier to apply. Each trait can be placed into a simple statement, such as one of those below. Now, this is where I was talking about this game gets very player agency. Because I am a personal trait, this activity is easier.
Or harder.
Or harder for you. Exactly. And so this is where that discussion between game master and player can happen, and things can get a little dragged out. Okay, because of situation or location trait, this activity is. So a location. So this is where that word salad comes in, because a trait could be a personal trait, or a trait could be that you're in a church filled with a bunch of pews and there's combat is happening. So because I am ducked behind a pew, or your shot is going to be harder to do.
Oh, I get it. Okay. I got it. So okay. These traits are both static and fluid, depending on the scene or situation.
Correct. Because I have blackmail papers, and that, be trying to convince you of to move your troops out of this area is going to be easier.
Okay, and as a more tangible example, I duck behind cover. Now, you have the trait of behind cover, which makes anyone on the other side of that cover a higher target number, or a lower target number. It makes it harder to hit you because you are behind cover, because you have that behind cover trait now, and that is a trait dictated by the scene. Whereas in your
Right.
example, the blackmail papers is a trait dictated by an asset.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. So it is a little more permanent.
Right.
I mean, you
Right.
could tear up the papers, I guess, if you wanted to, but that'd be dumb. But yeah, whereas a scene trait is fluid, an asset trait is more permanent.
Correct.
Okay.
I think there's an example later in the
And
book
an
where
equipment trait would be more permanent as well. And that's what the papers thing. That's the
right.
papers. Like, yeah.
Right. Okay. So scenes so just like in Star Trek, just like in Conan or every other 2D20 game, time is abstract. Okay?
Yes. It is however long it takes.
Right. And so that is a scene. And within that scene, you use traits and assets to accomplish the end of the scene.
Yeah. Time in many 2D20 games is cinematic time, which
Right.
means, it takes as long as it takes. And then the time in between scenes also takes as long as it takes. It doesn't really matter as long as time advances in some way. Basically it. To make it exciting.
Right.
Cinematic.
And just like in any 2D20 game, the players usually go first.
Unless they're surprised.
Unless they're surprised, right?
Yeah.
And then the game master spends threat and all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So skill tests are very easy. We've talked about this before. You choose a skill. You choose a skill. You choose a drive. If that has a drive statement, you lower the difficulty. If you have a focus, then you get under your focus. Then you start to build what is called momentum. Okay. Mm-hmm. So
you get an extra success, which
correct.
is the same as rolling a 1. So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
This is off the top of my head after reading this. What if you roll a 1
mm-hmm.
and it's with your focus? You rolled your focus or under, that's an extra success. But you also rolled a 1. Does that mean you get 3 successes?
When I've run Conan with this, it's under your focus is treated like a 1.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, right. But I may be doing that wrong, okay? Because in Conan you can have a focus like a 2 or a 3, and it just adds an extra.
Oh no, it says it right here. It says it right here. If
Oh.
your character has a focus that would help in that action, then any die roll that rolls equal to or less than their skill is a critical success instead. Which means you can't get a critical success and a focus success. It's considered a critical instead. So it's as if you rolled a 1.
Right.
So you are doing it correctly.
Yeah. So
Then
on the opposite side of this
your internet connection's going weird.
Uh-oh.
Yep, you're freaking out. You are freaking out.
On my side, it looks okay.
Let's ask people in chat who's freaking out. All right, difficulty for tests, that is what, up to the game master, right? Difficulty is rated from 0 to 5. This is the number of successes required to perform this task. Mar Hawkman says Skynet has struck Crafty.
Interesting. On my side, I'm looking at the stream.
Yeah, your audio and video is going in and out. Okay, so you may need to reset your router or something a little later, but we're going to go through this. So the difficulty of test is the game master's choice, which has been so far pretty slim, and it goes from 0 to 5. 0, obviously, you need no successes to do something, so that is an automatic success, and then 1 would be average. Anywhere between 2 and 5 would be increasingly difficult. 5 being basically impossible unless you spend all this momentum or get all this threat or whatever.
Now, why would you want to roll on a difficulty 0? That is because, again, on the opposite side of the critical success,
to pad your momentum. Yeah,
correct. But you have the potential on a difficulty 0 challenge or skill test to roll complications.
Yes, you do. If you screw up, yeah.
So, but yes, it is to pad momentum.
Yes. When to roll. I mean, your basic thing. I mean, simple stuff. stuff that's considered automatic, you wouldn't want to roll on it at all. I would not allow characters to pad momentum for dumb stuff. Like they are a pilot and they're landing at a strip. It's broad daylight, no crosswind, no nothing. Everyone can see everything. Difficulty 0. As long as you have a basic skill in pilot, you will succeed in this task. I'm not going to let you pad momentum by rolling that ass. No, you just land the damn plane and shut the hell up.
Well, we'll get more into that in segment 2, because in games like Conan, I let players pad momentum all the time, because in padding momentum, they also pad my doom or threat.
Okay, well, and not all D20 games are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
right. So simple difficulty, nudging open a door, blah, 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 average, challenging, daunting, dire, and no, you don't get to do this because that's 5. It's epic. It's like, no, sorry, buddy.
Right, but let's say that a test is epically difficult. Okay,
sure.
You're only ever allowed to roll up to 5 dice. That's it. You can't roll any more. Okay,
right.
So let's say though that you have a really high drive score, right, and you have a really high skill score, and you think you can do it. So you buy threat from the game master to roll your 5 die, and you get all 5 successes. Then you can do the epic difficulty thing. You can ask for a danger. You can ask for a favor from an enemy, as an example. Chances of it failing are huge.
Yeah, but if you do it, that's outstanding.
It's epic.
Exactly. It's epic. Yeah. Personally, I wouldn't. I would not want to give the game master that much threat.
No, but that's up to you. That's up to you. Okay. So what are you doing and why? Well, that's where the drive comes in. Okay. Yep. So, and again, here in the example, okay, the game master determines for Kara to make a trade deal with a spice merchant. She needs to use her communicate skill. This is mainly as they are in an informal setting at a party, where at a boardroom negotiation, discipline may be better, okay? Or perhaps even battle if they're doing a corporate battle. Well, I know, but that can be argued, okay?
Yeah.
Next, Kara needs to look at her drive statements. She has 3 of them. And as Kara's negotiating on behalf of her house, her drive statement that seems most appropriate is duty. But her faith statement might also apply, as her house trusts her, okay? So in choosing a drive, you choose a drive, okay? And if several drive statements suit the action, then you choose the best one. Okay.
The most advantageous to you.
Right. Because
none of the drives, you can have more than one drive statements in the same drive through roleplay.
Correct. Right.
But you start with one.
You start with one.
But through roleplay, you can gain others.
So if none of the drive statements suit the action, so sometimes there just isn't a driver statement that fits. You were asking this question earlier. So in that case, you should choose one of your 2 lower drives that doesn't have a statement. Okay.
Okay.
I know. So this is where you would probably house rule it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this represents the character attaching no real focus to the task, and it doesn't mean much to them. But again, I understand why this is being done. This is being done so you can't put an 8 in duty and then always try to attach something to duty.
Yeah, but a game master's job is to make sure that doesn't happen. I mean,
right. Which is why as the game master you'd say no, choose another drive. That doesn't make any sense. Choose another drive. Okay. But if you're going to use duty and you have a drive statement there, then that duty has to be attached to that, or the role has to be attached to that statement.
Or you cannot use that drive at all.
Or you can't use that drive. Well, no, that's not true, because if you look down below, if the most appropriate drive statement is one that opposes the action, okay, then that means that your character is feeling some kind of internal conflict, but does it anyway. Okay.
Okay. For example, Kara, one of her drive statements is "My family trusts me,"
Hmm.
but she has to perform an action that will cause her family to not trust her. That
Right.
will openly betray her family, and they will know it.
Yeah.
It will
Then
contradict her drive statement.
correct.
What
And
happens
then
then?
she'll. So what happens then is that you are allowed to use that drive statement to lower the difficulty of the task, but you lose that drive statement.
Or you can choose to use another drive.
Or you can choose to use another drive. Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now,
Oh, here we go. If you know the drive seems appropriate, but the statement doesn't fit, here you might comply with the drive and gain a point of determination, picking the drive you think is most appropriate, even though the statement doesn't quite fit. Your character considers the action at odds with their drives, but not enough to make them question their ideas. They can continue to make the test and keep their drive statement, but pick up a complication to represent how unsettled they're. Okay, let's say, min max dude you're talking about with a duty of 8 wants everything to be duty. He can, as long as it logically can fit inside that drive. He may not have a statement for it, but if he picks up a complication, he can still roll that drive.
correct.
Okay. And
Right.
examples of complications are what?
We'll go back to that. You're trying to convince the family. You lie to the family. Okay, your family, the person that you're talking to at the party, may not know that you're lying to them, and that may succeed. However, a complication is that a house rival heard you. They know you're lying, and they're going to keep that information for later.
Oh, so someone now has blackmail on you. That's the complication.
That would be an example of a complication. Or let's say in a knife fight, okay, you go against your drive and you accidentally misstep, okay, you lose initiative as a complication.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. So you could still use a drive even if the situation doesn't fit your drive statement, but you're going to sacrifice something by picking up a complication.
Correct. And
You can
just like
still
any other.
succeed,
Right.
but you're going to pay for it somehow.
Right. And just like with other complications in other 2D20 games, you can buy away the complication by adding 2 threat to the game master.
Or can you buy away a complication by spending banked momentum?
No.
Oh, okay. You just have to give up the threat. All right.
You have to give up the threat. That's how you feed the game master.
Okay. Momentum can be spent improving the odds. Momentum can be spent to buy additional dice before a skill test. You can buy up to 3 2d20s for a total of 5 dice. The first die you purchase for a skill costs 1, the second die costs 2, the third costs 3, and so on. So to get 3d20, it costs 6 momentum. Threat can be
Right.
generated to buy extra dice instead of spending momentum. This works the same way as spending momentum above, but you may generate threat to pay some or all of the cost, generating 1 point of threat for each point of momentum you would have spent otherwise. Okay. That's
Right.
normal 20 stuff.
So this
That's
is a
normal
change. This is a
20 stuff.
change from other 2D20 games where buying dice is a 1-to-1.
Like what it was for each momentum you buy with threat, it's a 1-to-1 thing. So
Right. But what I mean is if you have a pool of 6 momentum, you can only buy 3 dice.
yes.
So whereas in other 2D20 games, it was on a 1-to-1. You could spend 1 momentum for 1 die.
Get 1 die. Actually, in Star Trek Adventures, it was like that as well. Each
Oh,
one
it
costs
was.
more.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
each one costs more as well. Yeah, for each extra die would cost you more momentum
Okay.
than the last. Recovering drives. If any of your character drive statements are crossed out, then they're less certain of their drives and of their place in the universe. It takes time, reflection, and counsel to clear away that uncertainty. At the end of any scene during which your character contemplated personal matters or discussed them with another character, and you did not spend or gain any determination during that scene, you may ask the game master to allow your character to recover a drive. If you don't do this during play, it happens automatically between adventures should no suitable opportunities arise. Okay, so losing a drive is uh, is going against it.
Mm-hmm.
Go is
Is going against it to get an automatic success.
Right. So then it gets crossed out,
Correct.
and as so you just get it back next adventure, as long
You
as
can't,
nothing else happens.
as long as nothing else happens. Yeah.
Okay. What can happen to fully erase it?
So right here it says it right here. So you would have to change your priorities. So as an example, Kara, her family trusts her. Okay, she would have to do something within the game in order for her family to trust her again. Okay, but because a crossed off, you'll notice that there's only one spot on the character sheet for a drive statement.
Right.
Okay, so once you cross that off, you can't have any new drive statements.
Okay.
You can't. So in order to get it, it's if you've ever played the Darkest Dungeon, it's almost like picking up a madness. Okay, and
I don't like you right now. Go on. I'm gonna try and get over it.
Yeah, that's all right. Did Darkest Dungeon touch you in wrong ways?
I have. There's a hole in my backyard with a melted thumb drive with the game on it.
Okay. So, yeah, but so then this is the perfect example, right? You would have to you have to reflect in order to remove that particular drive statement, your crossed off drive statement, so that you can make a new drive statement. Now,
or just wait for the next adventure to be able to uncross it.
Well, you'd be able to uncross it, but you wouldn't be able to use that drive statement again. You have to come up with a new one.
Wait, what?
As far as
get it back.
As far as the way that I'm interpreting it is that once you have gone against your drive, once you have gone against what you have said, then you lose that drive statement. Now you can rewrite that drive statement, okay, but your priorities will change. Your character is permanently changed after lying to your family or losing the trust of your family. Yeah.
That's not what I'm reading here. If any of your character's drive statements are crossed out, then they're less certain of their drives and of their place in the universe. It takes time, reflection, and counsel to clear away that uncertainty. At the end of any scene during which your character contemplated personal matters or discussed them with another character, and you did not spend or gain any determination, which is what the momentum for this game, during that scene, you may ask the game master to allow your character to recover a drive. That's uncrossing it. If you don't do this during gameplay, it happens automatically between adventures should no suitable opportunity arise. When your character recovers a drive,
there you go.
Select a single drive which has had the statement crossed out and do one of the following: a new statement or a change of priority. Okay. So when you are not recovering that priority, you have to choose a new one.
You're recovering the slot.
You're recovering the slot, so you choose a new statement, or you modify the score of that drive by -1 and choose the drive with the next lowest score to be increased by +1. So if you were
you can keep
score of 6,
you can keep your drive statement. You can keep that my family trusts me, but you've gone from an 8 to a 7.
Okay. In that drive. This game is very abstract. Yeah. Yes, Indigo Dragon. This game is just like Book 2. It is convoluted with lots of bullshit.
Well, just wait till we get to assets, and spending momentum for assets.
I'm not even going to mess with that. Okay. Whichever option is chosen, the drive is now recovered and may be used freely, though you cannot challenge a drive which has already been challenged and recovered during that adventure. People core drive do not change that often. Okay, that's fine. Momentum. All right, we've actually been here for 3 hours.
Okay, so let's, which is fine. Let me sum up. Let me sum up what momentum can be used for. Momentum can be used to gain initiative back, but this is where that abstraction comes in. You can actually spend momentum, and the player agent. This is where player agency comes in. You can spend that momentum to add an asset or a trait to a scene. So, for example, Yes. So, for example, if you have enough momentum, you can say, I'm going to spend momentum and I have a concealed knife. It may not be on your character sheet, but you've spent the momentum, you now have a concealed knife.
Okay.
Or you can create a opportunity or a talent to scene. I knocked out a guard. I'm going to spend momentum. He has keys on him for luck.
Okay. You were
And the,
hang on. You
yeah.
roboted out a lot right there.
Hmm.
So creating a trait allows you to find a new fact about the scene or situation. Spending 2 points of momentum either creates a brand new trait, changes an existing one, or removes one currently in play. Okay, Star Trek Adventures had something like this. Yep. Yeah, he's getting strangled by Skynet again. It's true. Star Trek Adventures had something like this as well, by creating advantages and disadvantages by spending momentum. It had something similar. It did not have create phasers out of thin air magic like the create an asset, which I personally would just bullshit out of my game. Like, no, you can't reach into your pocket. No, look, I forgot I had a knife. No, you didn't forget you had a knife, asshole. No one forgets they have a knife. So no, sorry, can't do that. But the game does allow it. Great. Yeah, that is pretty badass. I'm not gonna do that. Complications, example, bruised, exhausted, flanked, injured, stunned. These are all important. Yeah. Complication range. Now, the complication range. Some situations can make a skill test uncertain rather than more difficult. These factors make it more likely that complications occur by increasing the range of numbers, which then will cause complications. Character has complication range of 1 normally, so complications occur on a die that rolls a 20. Complication range can never be increased by more than 5, and the effect of changing the complication range is explained on the table below. So, what I imagine is that the game master can spend threat to increase a character's complication range.
Yes. Or a player can spend momentum to increase the game master. Right. Yes. Or to increase the game master's complication range.
Okay. Okay, here is i.e. you're in here we go. Okay. This is Mar Hockman's example of using momentum to gain an item you didn't have before. You use momentum to swipe it from the enemy. Like you spend that 2 momentum to literally grab the weapon out of the enemy's hands, and now it's your weapon.
Yes and no. So personal conflict is the conflict system in this is even more convoluted. So and if you just, I know we've been going on 3 hours in this. So if you want to just skip ahead real quick and look at page 161.
Okay, hang on.
Okay, so here's conflict. You actually have different conflicts: dueling, skirmishes, warfare, espionage, intrigue. The espionage and intrigue are they're going to be your role playing conflicts, whereas dueling, skirmishes, and warfare are more traditional. Now, every 2d20 uses zones and movement in and out of those zones.
Yeah, near, medium, and far, or something like that.
Our role-playing brain is, we're used to skirmishes. Skirmishes are, there's 5 players on the board, there's 5 NPCs on the board, and you're moving in and out of zones and you're combating.
Sure.
Right? Okay?
Yeah.
In warfare, it's just that on a grander scale. Instead of moving a single person, you're moving entire battalions and divisions. Exactly.
Yeah. Units.
Where this game gets really super complicated is in dueling. Okay? In dueling, my body is one zone. My right hand is a zone. My left hand is a zone. I can move my knife from my right hand to my left hand. And you can try to move your knife into my personal space, but in order to get through my personal space, you have to get through the zone of whatever my right or my left hand is.
What?
I know. Okay? So take that large skirmish combat of moving through zones and bring it down to a personal level. Okay? Your knife is now your asset instead of, say, a person. Okay? I am going to try to move my knife into the personal zone of my opponent. To do that, I have to move. I'm going to try to move my. You can only move one zone at a time. So you
Yes.
have to move right. You have to move. I'm going to move into the right or the left zone of my opponent. If that opponent doesn't have a defensive asset there, then you may pass into the personal space. Even more abstract about conflict is that the player and the game master determine the outcome of the conflict before it starts. So again, in dueling, you say, well, how are we going to do this duel? We will duel until first blood, or we will duel to the death. If you duel to the death and the player rolls really bad, then the player can die in one die roll. Because if the game master throws, say, 5 successes and passes through the guard of the player, there are no hit points in this game.
Yeah.
The player is just dead. It's the opponent shuck and jived and jabbed him in the side, and now the player's dead.
So wait, unlike many other 2D20 games, like Star Trek Adventures, it used stress as hit points.
Right.
Conan, what does it use?
It uses harms and stress.
Harms and stress. Okay, this one
Yeah.
has no hit point or equivalent.
No,
It is either success or failure, dead or alive, binary, 1 or 0.
that's correct. So again, going back to Paul and Fade, they dueled to the death.
And it
Right.
was one roll.
And but it may have been a series of roll, as you saw Fade throw his knife from one hand to the other. You saw him duck down. Those are all of the rolls in try. So Fade's going to move his knife from his personal space into the personal zone of Paul. Paul's going to move his knife from one side to the other to deflect. Once that roll fails, then the knife is moved into the personal space of Paul or Fade, and the character dies.
Okay. So all you have to do is now how do you defeat someone's defense? Like if you take your knife to the right side of your opponent, but your opponent has a knife or a shield of some kind in
Then
that side, how do you defeat that?
it would be opposing battle rolls.
Okay, so both of you would roll battle plus whatever
Right, plus-
to get the
plus
target
whatever.
number, and the most
Right.
successes wins.
Right, correct. But in that, if you get like what Mar Hockman was saying, let's say you get 2 or 3 successes, you could then spend those successes to say that you knock the knife out of the person's hand.
Create
The
a complication for that person using momentum.
Correct. The
Yeah.
next strike after that, okay,
They have no defense for.
they have no defense for other than, say, movement. I am going to try to move out of the way.
Out of combat rate.
Right. If they fail that movement roll, then the knife strikes true and you're dead.
Okay.
And I'm saying that is if you and the game master decide that that's what you want to do. Again, what you can do is you can battle to first blood. You can battle to there's a wide variety. So the player has to be very, very careful in choosing the outcome of a conflict, because their character could die right then and there.
Well, no, I don't like it when you say choosing the outcome. Choosing the win condition.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Choosing the win condition. Yes.
Yeah, because you don't
Okay.
know the outcome. The dice are doing that. So, but
Right.
but you go until someone has the stated win condition.
Now, correct. Now, the game master can say, "I'm going to duel you to the death," and the player can say, "Well, no, I'm going to duel you to first blood," and the game master could say, "That's not what this NPC is doing. This NPC wants to kill you."
Well, then I'm not fighting.
Correct.
Bye.
Right. So now what are you going to do? Well, then you can say, well, then my win condition is to subdue him. Okay. So if I win, as the game master, your character dies. If you win, then the character is subdued.
Actually, if someone's trying to kill me and I don't want to kill them, I don't fight them.
Right. But that's fine. But again, it's one of those things where, you may be cornered, you may be this,
Okay.
it's so yeah, so there's all sorts of abstraction when it comes to that.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
if we want to move into segment 2 then,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's all we're gonna do for today. This is not obviously all of it. There is a lot of stuff left over here, and we're going to talk about some of that in our second segment. People who are watching live right now, we're going to go right into it. People who are watching this as a clip, then maybe you check out our YouTube channel or check out our VOD, and you'll be able to see what's coming up next.